Hey, so one of the most common questions I get from clients is how long will it take to get an SBA loan? So if I'm starting from scratch today, haven't talked to a lender, and I've just decided that I'd like to get an SBA loan, how many days, weeks, months are we talking before I'm going to see cash in my bank account? And of course, the answer is it depends, but I'm going to try to answer the question and give you a kind of a framework and an understanding of what to expect here. So the first thing I would mention is that there are different types of SBA loans. So there is what is called the SBA guaranteed loan, which is the SBA 7A or SBA 504 program. And with both of these programs, you're going to be looking for a bank lender, a bank or credit union that is an SBA lender. And you're going to work directly through the bank to apply for the loan. But there is kind of this extra layer here because it is an SBA guaranteed loan, meaning the taxpayer, you and I, are on the hook if the loan goes bad. If the loan defaults, then the U.S. government is going to guarantee and reimburse the lender for some portion of that defaulted loan. And so because of that, there are some extra hoops to jump through. As a taxpayer, I'm happy that the U.S. government is making borrowers go through some extra hoops to make sure that hopefully these loans are a good risk for us taxpayers. So that is one thing to note, is that if you're looking for an SBA 7A or 504 loan, these are kind of what you would commonly think of if you're applying for an SBA loan. You're going to have some extra hoops to jump through, or the bank is going to have some extra hoops to jump through for you to get that SBA guarantee. Now, there is this kind of widely unknown smaller subset of SBA lenders called SBA micro lenders. And I spent actually 12 years leading an organization that was an SBA micro lender. And during that time, we approved over 1,500 SBA loans. And we use the SBA microloan program, which only allows you to lend up to $50,000. So it is definitely for smaller businesses and startups primarily that need less capital, right, than, a multi-million-dollar larger SBA loan. But it can be a much faster process. And the reason for that is because SBA microlenders they're not guaranteed. Those microloans are not guaranteed by the SBA. And so there is more authority given to the micro lender organization themselves to approve the loans themselves. And they don't have to kind of have this other layer of approval or scoring that they have to pass with the SBA as well. So as a microlender, it was possible that we could get a client that really had their stuff together. They had a solid business plan. They had projections. They filled out all the forms really quickly. And they just happened to kind of line up at the perfect time right before a loan committee meeting that we may have had scheduled. And we might have been able to get them into that loan committee in the same week, potentially, as they applied, potentially get them approved. And then we had a quick turnaround on closing a lot of times because we're not often taking, SBA microlenders are not often taking like real estate as collateral. So there's no title search and all this sort of thing, that appraisals and things like that may slow down the process. So if you need a fast SBA loan, I would take a look at SBA microlenders. And I'm going to just pull up the website here. This is sba.gov. And really all you need to do is Google SBA microlenders and you're going to find this, but you can find the list of microlenders and really simply just select your state. So if you're in the state of Georgia and you want to filter, and you can see here's a handful of SBA microlenders that lend in the state of Georgia. So pretty simple there. I want to talk a little bit about the more common SBA lender. So microlending is, I think, really useful and can be fast. But typically, if you're looking for an SBA loan, you're probably looking for a 7A or 504 loan. And my experience is that about the fastest you're probably going to get from application to cash in your account, I think if you can do that in a month, you're winning. That is pretty darn fast. And maybe there's some exceptions that could be done a little bit faster, but I'd say generally the amount of due diligence and paperwork that needs to be done, you're probably looking at least a month. And then it can certainly extend depending on the lender, depending on how complex the loan request is and the situation. If it's an acquisition, there could be more requirements in place. I think you should kind of plan in your head for at least a couple months. Okay. So I just want to set that kind of stage there, that you should be thinking a month to a couple months there on an SBA loan. Now, I think there are definitely ways to find out which lenders are likely to be the fastest. And that is based on finding which lenders are most experienced and most interested in lending in your industry, in your state. And so the way to do that, we have put together a little SBA Lender Finder tool here. It's a little dashboard where we took the publicly available SBA loan data. We got into this dashboard tool. I'm going to show you how the dashboard works. I'll put a link to the dashboard in the description of the video below. It's free, so you can go grab that and play around and sort and filter and find a lender that seems like they should be a good fit for you. But here's the way it works. So if I say, okay, I'm in the state of Arizona, let's say, and I want to find who is the top SBA lender in the state of Arizona. Well, I see Wells Fargo tops the list here. Now, let's say I am trying to start a new business. So I see Wells Fargo is number one right now, but we're doing a startup. And so we want to see which lenders like startups. And so we'll filter that, and what we're going to see is that Wells Fargo no longer on the top of the list. They're down to 7th. So even though they do a lot of SBA lending in the state, apparently they may not love startups. And so we see here United Midwest Savings Bank is actually the top startup SBA lender in the state. Now, let's say we wanted to look at change of ownership here in this option selection here. This is for business acquisitions. So it means the loan is used for change of ownership or a business acquisition. And what we'll see is that Live Oak Banking Company is the top SBA lender for acquisitions. Now, Live Oak is kind of known for really nationwide. They are a top SBA acquisition lender. They really seem to do acquisitions well. And so you'll see them top the list here. Now, just to give you another example, I'm going to set this back to just kind of all SBA loans, but I want to look at industry. So we kind of see what the list looks like here: Wells Fargo, US Bank, JP Morgan. Let's just say I'm wanting to get a loan for a car wash. Now we'll see. What we see is that those lenders that were on the top of the list, now they're nowhere to be found. So maybe Wells Fargo, JP Morgan, maybe they don't care for the car wash industry. And so that's what you'll often find, is that really based on industry and location and stage of business, you are going to find a completely different list here of the top lenders. And so that is going to be what indicates who's going to be the fastest, in my opinion. Whoever likes your industry the most, whoever has done work in your industry in the past, they are likely to be the best, fastest lender, in my opinion. So feel free to play around with the tool. If you have any questions, or you just like me to take a look at your situation or your scenario, what kind of loan you're looking to get, and want me to kind of run through this for you, feel free to reach out to us at support@projectionhub.com. We'd be happy to do that for you and give you some feedback on who we think might be a good lender fit for you. But hope that's been helpful in thinking through who is going to be the fastest SBA lender. Thanks.